Floor prostration. So starting in child's pose, we're going to slowly come up onto all fours. And let's get the shoulders over the wrists. Once the shoulders are over the wrists, let's go ahead and make sure that the knees are a little bit behind your hips. Right? And once you have that, make sure you shift the shoulders back over the wrists again. You're going to feel a little more weight transfer into the upper body. And maybe the navel will engage a little more. So this is what I refer to as a modified plank pose. Now, if you curl your toes under and straighten the legs, modified plank sets you up for what's referred to as full plank pose. So where the legs are charged up, knees are off of the floor, hips stay lower than the shoulder blades. This sets you up for downward facing dog. From plank pose, you lift the hips up toward the sky, back toward the wall behind you, bending the knees a little bit to get more length in the spine and more flexion or crease in your hip. Now, depending on the mobility that you have in the back of your legs and in the lower back, you might bend your knees a little more or a little less. I want you to be able to feel you're creating a comfortable stretch for the back of your legs and lower back, while at the same time finding length in the spine and in the sides of your torso. So we're going to move through these postures dynamically. And on your next inhalation, you're going to come into full plank pose. If it feels a little too challenging for you, you can always bring the knees down into modified plank. And then as you exhale, you go into child's pose. And the hips might not come all the way to the heels, and that's okay. Don't force them. You'll inhale and come back into a modified plank next. You'll curl the toes under as you do that, and then your exhalation takes you back into downward facing dog, lifting in the lower belly and lengthening the spine. Good. So let's do that one more time. We'll inhale into full plank pose, strong back, strong chest. Make sure you lower the hips a little lower than the shoulder blades. Child's pose is next. And we'll come back up into modified plank pose. Set yourself up for downward facing dog as you exhale. Remember, you can keep the knees bent as much as you need to, and then inhale in plank pose. And we're going to add one more posture to this. So in plank now, as you exhale, go back into child's pose. On the next inhalation, you're going to lift the belly off the thighs, hips off the heels. You're going to sweep the arms up alongside the ears. As you exhale, you're going to lower the arms back down, hips back towards your heels. Get the arms stretched back out in front, and you end up in child's pose again. As you inhale, come back into a modified plank pose. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. So that's the whole sequence. As you inhale, you'll come back into plank pose. Again, modified plank is an option. Follow through with your breath. Child's pose is next. As you inhale, you'll lift up. If it feels okay, you can even lean back a little bit with the hips forward and open chest. Right? As you exhale, make sure you get the weight of your hips back towards your heels first. The arms extend back out in front, and then inhale into modified plank pose, and then back into downward facing dog. So you continue with this at your own pace. You can do anywhere between 3 to 10 rounds. As you inhale and lift up, keep in mind that you can skip this posture if it doesn't feel good, either coming up or lowering down. You can also bring the hands down to the floor first if it helps you to support your body weight. And then you're coming back up into that modified plank pose. Remember, it takes some time here to engage chest and back before lifting up from the lower belly. Plank pose, if the knees are up, make sure the legs feel charged. You may feel the navel draw back toward the spine a little bit at the end of that exhalation in child's pose. Strong back, strong navel on the way up into this front line stretch. And as you exhale, make sure the navel is engaged and the hips go back toward your heels first. And the last round here. Now you can finish in downward facing dog and take a few breaths. See if this posture feels different to you now that you've done it a few times dynamically. Or you can come back down to the knees and go back into child's pose. And you can take the knees even wider if it's more comfortable for you, and take a few resting breaths here. And take some time. Notice any significant changes in your physical body or the condition of the mind. Make sure if you've lost a smooth quality to your breath, you gain it back now.